From the wax to the racks and the best on ski tracks, it's the Rad Nomads live from Detroit. It's nice. So here I am with my guest, Kirk Bunker, longtime friend from Mount Pleasant. We're going to be talking about skiing, skis in particular, where to go, what we've done, what we recommend. We'll first just get it kicked off with Kirk. When did you first start skiing?
I think about a year after you, Mike. 18, so watched the rest of you guys go up and do it pretty much every single weekend there for a while, and decided I had too much FOMO and had to get into it. So I was a little young on the wagon, but I got onto it pretty hard.
Agreed. We were late to the game. We were definitely juniors, seniors in high school, and I think a lot of our friends had started when they were in elementary school, but obviously the bug stuck. We've been skiing ever since, and, well, we've traveled the globe each winter just to go skiing. So obviously the Rad Nomads, the passion runs deep, but we got to give a shout out to our local hill, Nubs Knob. We grew up skiing there mainly because of the Martin family. They
Absolutely.
had a condo.
First place
God
ever
bless
skied out
their
of, yeah.
souls. They let us ski there, party there. Hell, Jordan Smith skied down those runs pretty much naked at midnight. We've been chased by the groomers, chased by ski patrol.
Absolutely. Pretty much rode snowmobiles up the hill.
We've done it all. So we started skiing at Nubs, and we came to them with the proposition of giving us college lift passes, and maybe when we were juniors in college. And, well, they weren't going to do that, but they offered us jobs to work over the holiday season for 1 week, and then they'd give us $2 lift tickets all season. So what, you started in the rental room?
Yeah, rental shop, guys. Rental rats all the way.
Rental rats. Kirk was a rental rat the first year. Myself, Mike Coyne, Dan Coyne, Birdo, Pitsley.
Chase Colleen.
And Chase Colleen.
There we go.
Let's not forget.
A little known nomad.
We were lifties on the night shift, so we got to ski all day for $2, discounted lunch, and then we would work maybe, 4 hours at night, and then we'd go home, party, wake up, and do it again. So
Pretty much, yeah. First year we were a little inexperienced with though as far as the housing, man. We got like just a tiny little one-room shack. I think 14 guys in there at one point, pretty much stacked on top of each other. I don't remember what it smelled like, but I can't imagine it came off like roses.
Well, it definitely smelled like urine because John peed in the sink.
So Geffert, yeah.
Someone probably got peed on. But I guess another thing that we wanted to talk about and let our listeners know is probably about 4 or 5 years ago, they introduced the Michigan White Gold Card, which was a Michigan Snow Sports Association pass where it cost $150 when they first released it.
400 of them, I think, total in the state, yeah. And just you and JB got them first year, right?
Just me and JB. It was a one free lift pass for every ski hill in the state, and then you got free tune-up, 3 free sharpenings, and some discounts off gear. So it was a no-brainer for us, and I think we've gotten that every year since. The price is now at $280, but it's still a good deal.
Yeah, I mean it's gone up a little bit, but same thing. Like when we went up this year and skied Nubs in Boyne Highlands, it was $90 over the MLK weekend holiday pass. So yeah, you get your money back pretty quick on it.
Great deal. We recommend any other Michigan skiers if they're looking to go skiing more than 3 times in a season, get the White Gold Card. You'll thank us later. They only print a limited amount. Usually they start selling them in early October, so you got to be quick on the draw. You can either buy them online or you can go into participating stores, buy them in person.
You can call in there too.
That's
so
true.
You can call around and they'll send them right to you, or you can go and pick them up if you want to. But
and if you really want to, you can go in and I think they'll sell you 4 passes to one person. So you could go in and buy 4 and then just have your friends pay you back. But either way, usually by late November, early December, they're gone.
Right, and as soon as we hear about them, we just kind of start, like blowing each other up, Facebook and whatever. We got a group for that too. So, just get the word out there as fast as we can and see if people want to get them. So
we don't let anyone forget about it. And the good thing about it, like we said, you get to go to any ski hill. So if you're a beginner, there's plenty of mountains that you could go to, whether it's local Detroit area. There's
Brighton, Mount Holly,
Mount
Pine
Holly.
Knob are all little tiny ones just
Yep.
around here that are, just great to get out and get some of your first turns in and just kind of learn, what you need to do essentially to stand up on a hill.
Right. It's not too steep, long, gradual runs, perfect for beginners.
Yep.
Then you go a little further north, you got Cabernet, Crystal, Treetops. Those are going to be a little more intermediate, a little more elevation.
Yep. Even
more
Shush,
runs.
Shush and Shanny right there.
Yep.
Shanny is a good one too. Like a lot of stuff to do there. Bel Air's a pretty cool town, and then, Shush Mountain itself has a little bit like steeper runs, a little bit more technical, and Shanny Creek, which is right next to it, is pretty much just beginner runs all the way out. So that's a nice one to kind of do, and it's like a lot of stuff to do around there too.
Now, we wouldn't want to say that there's too many expert hills in the state, but there's a little hidden gem tucked away on the Keweenaw Peninsula in the Upper Peninsula called Mount Bohemia.
Yeah.
I myself have not had the pleasure, but I know, Kirk, you've been there, what, twice?
Yeah, been there twice, and it was unbelievable both times. First time we caught about 2.5 feet of snow. Went up there. They actually shut it down the first day. So when we got to actually go, we got into some pretty fun deep stuff, especially for around here. But yeah, they get anywhere from like 250 to 300 inches a year, which is pretty unheard of outside of the Rockies and some of those western states. And it's fun. It's 900 foot of vertical, just 2 chair lifts, and it's pretty much all backcountry stuff. So they don't
No
do any
groomers.
grooming at
Yeah.
all. Yep. So you catch it on a good day with some snow, and you've got a lot of fun in there. And there's, a lot of technical things you can get into. You catch it on a bad day where they haven't had snow, and it's just rock hard moguls, and it's not fun
Not
to deal
fun
with.
Michigan skiing.
And also, too, you got to deal with, you're in the Upper Peninsula, right? So
Yeah.
we got up there the one year, it was negative 38 at the base. Negative 38. That's before you're getting up on the chairlift.
Yeah.
So
Bring your flask.
Right.
You're going to need a little extra warmth. And I know this year they expanded and they have a cat ski run.
Yeah.
So you can pay, I don't know, maybe $150, do the cat skiing for a day where you essentially sit in the back of a big groomer, takes you up to the top of the hill, and you get fresh powder turns all day, just you and your buddies.
yeah, and it's the only place that does that, like just this side of the Rockies. They don't do it
Yep.
anywhere out east. It's just kind of a unique thing to hear. And actually, they were named top 10 places to ski in the U.S. this year. And same thing, like they've got a couple little awards as far as like just being that nice little hidden gem that no one knows about, and because they're on that peninsula out there in the middle of Great Lake, they get all that like lake effect snow. So
Then let's talk about everyone's end of the season favorites. You're either going to do Mardi Gras at Nubs or you're going to do Crazy Days at Boyne.
right, Crazy Days. I think they call it something else, Carnival at
Carnival.
Boyne Highlands. Yeah, it's all the same thing though.
You get drunk on the ski hill. Really, it's one of the most irresponsibly things you could do on the ski hill. I'm surprised they even let you do it.
Yeah.
I've seen about 4 layers deep of orange soft netting at the bottom of Boyne for Crazy Days, knowing that people were hammered mid-mountain and they couldn't ski all the way down, so they have to. Essentially, it's bumpers. 4 layers of bumpers for people flying down that can't stop because they're so drunk.
Yeah, the last time we were there was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we were kind of sitting there and just watching, laughing, enjoying some music, just kind of checking out and people watching all the drunks that were up on the hill. And we realized, in about an hour when this place shuts down, they're all going to be trying to get down. So we just got out of there right then, went to the hot tub. We're like, dude, we got to get out of this before it just gets
Yeah.
really bad.
Even on our trip to the hot tub, we found a kid come into the locker room in just his underwear. His head was in bandages.
Yep.
You could tell that he had been bleeding from his head, and he was hammered.
Ah.
I think we called him Headshot, and he.
Yeah, definitely headshot on the video. There's a Red Nomad video out there about it. And yeah, he was all about it though. He was still down to party.
I think after that we had a nice little motel really.
Absolutely.
Across from. I will like to give a shout out to a local ski company, Shaggy's.
Shaggy's, yeah.
Right across from the Shaggy's factory. Then we had some good pizza buffet after that. But all in all, we highly recommend, even though the snow's not good towards the end of the season, get out there and enjoy one of these.
It's just an
crazy days.
experience, yeah.
You can even do one of those things where you get so much distance, you put your skis on, you try and skim across to a pool of water. Most people don't make it, but
Yeah,
that's all right.
dig a hole, line it up a little bit with some plastic, fill
Yeah.
it with water, and then see see if people want to get out in their bathing suits or whatever you want to wear and get all the way across it. So
I think it's a rad nomad goal for someone to skim across it naked and just ski on off.
yeah, if only, man. We got to do it before we get too old.
That's right. So that pretty much covers off on a lot of the Michigan hills. But as we said earlier, we've traveled not only the U.S. in search of snow, and I want to say we're going on year 8.
I think this was this year 8?
Year 8.
Yeah, Tahoe. If we want to count Tahoe was the
count
first
Tahoe.
one. Okay, that's
That
number
was,
1.
2010?
God, was it 10 or 9?
Maybe 9.
I think it might have
think
been
it was
9. Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
we're
This is
about
the
2
8th year.
years out from a 10-year anniversary of all of us from Mount Pleasant every winter going somewhere else in the world or the U.S. to go skiing in the winter. Pretty cool streak. So we'll just kind of hit some of the big ones. Like Kirk said, we started off in Tahoe. That was, I think, most of our first introduction to powder.
Yeah.
Shane had been living out there, invited us all out to stay with him. We got in that night. It snowed. We almost didn't get to his house because the roads were closed.
3.5 feet. Yeah, we had a talking guy to bring us up there in Reno. Man, I didn't think we were gonna make it up there.
Yeah. We woke up early.
Yeah.
We about killed ourselves and someone else on the road. We won't go into details on that.
Almost lost
Don't
a few
wanna
guys on the way there. Yeah.
incriminate ourselves. But we got to Homeywood and we were skiing knee deep all day, having a great time. After that, it was a series of U.S. resorts, but the first big one was Alaska. So I think there was like 12 of us that went to Alaska. We rented a house right outside Alyeska. We did 3 days on the hill with some pretty good snow, and then 1 day of cat skiing, which was amazing. It was pretty intermediate terrain. We had a whole group of people out there. Adam House was
Right.
even out there. I mean, that guy can check off that on his bucket list in life. He's a dad of 2 now.
Yeah.
And there he is out
Guy
skiing in
played
Alaska.
college football and said that was one of the best workouts he's ever had in his life.
I don't think he wore way too many layers. I think he was wearing 6 shirts and sweat was just pouring off of his head. Poor guy, wasn't prepared. Then we had myself, Berto, Shane, and Josh Pitsley. If it wasn't for my tax return, I don't think I would have gone heli skiing, but it was well worth it. We did like 5 laps heli skiing. So for those that don't know, we essentially put all our skis in a basket outside of a helicopter, and it flies you to the top of different peaks throughout Alaska. And if you're not familiar with the terrain, just Google it. It was pretty white knuckle. Pucker factory.
It's kind of
was
where
up
heli
there.
skiing was born, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
That's where it was pioneered for sure.
Sort of the wild, wild west of heli skiing, and we did that. Shortly after, there was a smaller group that did Japan Part 1. The fact that we can even say Part 1 is pretty cool.
6 guys, Japan by van,
Japan
Part 1.
by van.
Mm-hmm.
So we had me, the Coyne brothers, Shane, Berto.
Yeah.
And we got some real good snow in the northern island of Hokkaido. Did 3 different resorts. Great experience. And unfortunately, at that time, we could only get 6 of us out there. And obviously, we hit the refresh button on that. We just got back last week. Kirk and I were out there in Japan with, 7 other nomads. And we got
8 skiing nomads and one Ben.
one Ben.
One Ben out there. Keep us in line.
Yep. He took down every onsen in sight, though, so that's all right. So we had 5 ski days on the hill. I think I would say I was a little worried at the beginning of the trip that we had pretty much wrangled the whole crew to come out there, and we were going to pretty much fail on snow. It was 40, raining. It was clearly the worst day of skiing we ever had, followed by
the best day of skiing. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Having a resort.
Yep. On the same hill.
On the
Crazy
same
enough.
hill.
24 hours apart, went from the worst skiing. I mean, out there, you go out there to ski. That's what we're doing. I did 2 runs. I don't know. The only way I could have got more wet is if I would have just jumped in the actual onsen, which is like a natural, hot spring. Would have done that with all my clothes on. Probably would have had it more wet then. Only way.
Yeah.
It's terrible. All of us went in at that point. So
It was pretty cool to go from the worst day to the best day, and I told Shane, and I'll say it here, is we'll probably never have a better POW day in a resort since there was us and maybe 40 other powder hounds chasing it who were all foreigners, but
and it was shut down the day before,
shut
so
down
it
the day
was.
before.
Yep, it
we
was
had
deep.
fresh turns all the way to the the closing bell.
Yep. Shane said to us, I think halfway through the day, he's like, guys, this is as good as snow gets.
He wasn't lying because last year we were in British Columbia, Canada, and we didn't get any news.
And that's part of it sometimes too, you know. I mean, sometimes you get lucky with it, sometimes you don't.
Yep.
I mean, Revelstoke has been known for getting a ton of snow. They had a huge December and a pretty good January, and we got there and had nothing. We had some beautiful bluebird days,
Yep.
but I don't know if we saw more than. Did we see any snow?
I
don't know if it
don't
snowed.
think if it snowed
Yeah.
while we were there.
But hey, still a
Yeah,
good time.
We still had a good time. I think the one concept that the Nomads are throwing out is we just go on the fly. We figure out where the snow is that winter, and within a week we booked the whole trip. Pretty tough logistically.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we typically plan these trips about 6, 7, sometimes 8 months in advance. So
This
we
last
pretty
one,
much
yeah.
pick the place, pick the dates, and pray that it snows.
Right.
Can't do much more than that. So, we were talking about maybe doing Jackson Hole next year, but in general, what would say your dream mountain is? I mean, we've been to a lot of different places, seen a lot of different hills.
One that I've wanted to ride for a long time, I think, and it's getting a little built up and resorty, but is do Whistler back home.
Oh, yeah.
Would just be, it's one of those ones that we've seen how many times, different videos, it's always been there. They have a really cool thing where it's like, the old traverse that's there where you can go between the
Yep.
two of them, just winter camping. I don't know if we get out there and do that. I mean, I'd love to.
Yep.
But that's definitely one of those iconic mountains, North America that it's definitely on the bucket list. Pretty
Yeah,
high for me.
I didn't even have that at the top of my head right now, but that's a great one to note, especially since, we were out in British Columbia when I told everyone we were going out there skiing. Everyone's first assumption is you're going to go to Whistler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, why wouldn't you be? And I think Revelstoke was cool, and I'd go there again to try and get some good snow there.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. We should definitely go to Whistler you got to check that one off the list.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my dream, I don't even know if it's going to be good, if it's going to be bad, but one thing that we have to do, right? So we've sort of hit the golden triangle.
I know where you're going
We've
with
done
this,
Japan.
Mike. Yeah.
We've done Alaska. We've the Rockies. I don't know certain places, but we've got to ski South America
Right.
in our summer, their winter. Maybe Argentina, Chile, somewhere down there.
Yeah,
and
thinking Patagonia area.
Yep,
Yeah, I know.
yep.
You've talked about this for a little bit here, so
Yeah.
and we've thrown that out as like a 10-year
Yeah.
anniversary trip.
Yeah.
So
Obviously that one would be pretty epic. It's going to be. There's a few resorts. They're not going to be busy. I think it'd be another thing like going to Japan.
Yeah.
Like a total cultural adventure experience with some really great snow.
yeah, it's one of those ones where not going to want to just go for a week even, like take a couple
Nope.
weeks, just like really enjoy
Yep.
when you're there, once in a lifetime type thing. So
Absolutely. And I think, when we're talking about going on these trips, the first focus is always going to be the hill, right? Or the mountain.
yeah, mountain and snow.
That's what
yeah.
we're thinking first. We're thinking, what can we do in order to get the most snow? Then what's the value? But the other thing too is what's the other experience?
Yeah, what
the
do you have
snow's not
around
always
you?
going to be good, as we've seen.
Right. Yeah. So what else can you do? Japan, we had a lot of stuff to do.
Cool cultural experiences.
Exactly. Yeah. Revelstoke was a little bit the other way. There wasn't
Right.
a ton going on out there, which
Yeah.
is which is fine in itself too. But like, what is that resort lifestyle like?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it one of those places we talked about with Jackson Hole, which
Right.
is just one of the supposed best resort lives out there.
Mm-hmm.
Ski bunnies
Yep.
galore.
Ski bunnies galore.
You've
Gotta
got
like that.
exactly, yeah. And you just have a ton of stuff around there. Teton's right next to it. You got an elk village within 20 miles.
Right.
There's all this stuff to do if we're not skiing.
Yep.
Like to Japan, we got the monkey park. That was a pretty
really
cool thing. Yeah,
That was really cool. A lot
Yeah.
cooler than I thought it would be.
absolutely. And down there too. We have to look into it a little bit more, do a little more research on it. But I would assume with what's out there.
Yeah.
There would be some pretty, just
Just
unique
the scenery
things.
in
Yeah.
general.
Oh, scenery would be amazing. out there.
Cultural people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are all things that we consider when we're planning a trip. The funny thing is, like we were talking about earlier, we're talking about skiing Jackson Hole or really anywhere in the American West, and we're
Yeah.
going to spend just as much money as we did to go to Japan and ski because of these outrageous lift ticket prices.
Yeah, and we went out to Tahoe when we originally did this. We didn't pay over $50 the entire
No.
time. Did a little research, got a couple deals. We went to a couple places certain days, like Mountain Rose.
Right.
You
Use
and
the
stuff.
Shell gas coupons on that?
Was that a Shell one? I think that they had a cheap one there anyway. I don't know
Okay.
what we used. And but we did the snow bomb for Kirkwood.
Yep.
We might have used
I
the
think
Shell
we did
gas
use some
station once.
Shell.
We
I
might
think
have,
we
yeah,
did.
for that one too. But I know
There's
we
a
had some.
couple.
I know we had some good deals on Rose when we were out there, and that's why we went there. And that was, I mean, that
was a great hill.
That was an awesome hill. A lot of fun traverses on that we
Yep.
got into. But yeah, it's kind of looking at that, and I mean, we paid almost nothing in Canada. I mean, it was unbelievably
dirt
cheap.
cheap.
Yeah. Yep.
cheap.
I mean, in Japan was pretty cheap, and out there, like
Yeah.
I said, we didn't pay over $50 when we originally
Yep.
did this, and now you're looking at places that are, 110, 150, yeah, even more at some of them.
Yeah, I was out there in Tahoe with Shane and Jim, maybe 3-4 years back, and we went to Heavenly. We said we wanted a half-day pass. They said $130, and we go, no, we want a half-day pass. And they're like, that is the half-day pass. And we're like, oh, Jesus.
Right, and they didn't even have great snow out there at that point.
No, so we just didn't go skiing that day.
Right,
I mean,
right.
$130 a day. I'm sure for whatever we do out in the American West, we'll find a way to get some sort of deal, whether we have to buy an Epic Pass, whatever it is.
We've
We're
already
not
been
paying
scheming
full
it.
price.
Already been looking at it.
Yeah, Kirk's plan is we all join community college, get the
6-day
ID, cancel the
college
class,
pass.
and then get the college price.
6-day college pass, right? You can show them, that you pay for your classes. Just cancel them. You got 2 weeks to do it. And I mean, it was $410 for 6 days.
All we have to do is show our ID.
The next cheapest was over $700. So say $300.
There's your plane ticket.
Right?
Brilliant.
I know Bert's on board with me.
The other big thing, once you're kind of out of that beginner phase, you start to get into it more. One big thing that you'll see people complain about is, oh, my feet are cold,
Feet hurt, they're going numb type of thing.
Yep.
You're miserable.
So there's no doubt that equipment's a huge part of skiing. Obviously, it can make or break your day on the hill, and I know that I have certain brands and boots that I like. Kirk, what would you say is your go-to gear for any beginner? Base layers, like what should someone wear?
Well, I mean, base layers, everyone's like, it kind of depends where you're at, but I mean, it's important to be able to layer up and layer down. Like we talked about with Adam out in Alaska. Guy's got, 6 sweatshirts on, and, you can see the steam rolling off the guy's
3
head.
of them cotton.
Right. So, I mean, like, a good either synthetic or wool base layer to have, like maybe just a nice t-shirt underneath, a long sleeve, and if you have a little bit of a thicker piece or maybe a vest just to kind of make sure you can keep warm. And then I'm a big fan of just going with the shell jackets. I mean, yeah, like, a lot of people, like, they think they got to stay warm. You get this huge insulated thing. But you're working pretty hard out there skiing, especially, when you're starting out and stuff, too. Like, yeah, you're getting pushed around by the hill a little bit, and you're working up a sweat, which that's bad. Once you start sweating, then you're going to get cold, then you're going to be miserable. So having a nice shell that maybe has, like, a couple vent pockets in it, you can cool down when you need to, makes a huge difference. And as far as shells go, I mean, there's pretty much Gore-Tex and everything else. Like, they do it the best. So you pay a little bit more for it, but I mean, stuff lasts forever, lifetime guaranteed type of thing. So
might as well do it.
Right. But you got a lot of choices out there, though. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever buy an insulated jacket again.
No, I wouldn't either. And I think the other thing when it comes to ski boots is everyone's feet are different. Everyone skis differently the way they set in their boot. I think the best thing you can do if you're going to go, get into skiing is go get your boots fitted by a professional.
Absolutely.
Don't try and just buy something cheap online or something cheap at the store, because if you have a bad boot, you're going to have a bad day. So make sure your boots fit, get them adjusted accordingly. You can even get custom insoles if you need it. So the other thing, obviously, the most important piece of equipment, your skis.
Absolutely.
And
that's what you're the expert at, Mike.
Yeah. I got a bit of a ski problem, and I think you could argue it all kinds of ways, but depending on where you're at, what the conditions are, you could pull out a different ski every day. For Michigan, you're going to want something that does well for groomers, since that's what we see a lot of. Icy days, we don't see a lot of fresh powder, so you want something, 90 millimeters in the waist or lower. Good edge to it. You don't want them to be, you want very parabolic skis for skiing and carving.
Right.
When you start going out west, we start talking about powder skis, which are fatter. There's more upturn in the tips and tails, which they call rocker.
Yeah. You can get into an all mountain thing too.
All mountain,
you can do
right
a little
between.
bit all of it, but that's more when you get a little, like you're going out west, you're doing that kind of stuff too. You got a little more miles underneath your boots there and stuff. So I mean, at first it's nice, like you said, you get a good pair, like a parabolic, which is nice curvature in the ski that allows you just to kind of grip onto the snow and lay into those turns.
Tight turn radius.
And I mean, especially when you're starting out, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with me? I think
absolutely
a classic mistake people make is they go too big.
Too big.
You know, like you're a 6-foot guy, they're like, oh, I have to have a pair of skis that's, like 177, 180. That's way too big.
The common rule is for the beginner, go below your chin.
Absolutely.
Intermediate, go to your nose. The further you go above your head, you're talking about big lines. Most people aren't going to need a ski that's too tall over their head, but it's all going to come down to the ski shape, the rocker profile. But if you want to just be like me, just get 5 pairs of skis and you got something for every day.
like we said earlier, the man's got a little bit of a ski problem, or it's a ski solution, depending on how you look at it.
I think it's a solution.
Right.
So one thing, too, is we're talking primarily about downhill skiing, skiing at the resort, but there's a lot of different things you can do outside for skiing in the winter. You go cross-country skiing, which is, maybe more of an aerobic exercise, flat land.
And they have a lot of those at the resorts. I mean,
Absolutely.
they have them at, Nubs, both Boynes, Crystal has one. I'm pretty sure Shanny does. Don't quote me on that, but, I mean, they all have cross-country trails, too.
Yep, so if you don't like the speed, you can go do that.
Right. And they have the rental equipment for it, too. So if it's something you don't want to, buy into first, you want to try it out, you can do that at the resorts.
Yep. And then we have backcountry skiing, which is going to a little bit briefly, but essentially you're taking your downhill skis and you put a special pair of bindings on them where you get a free heel and you can go up the hill like you would cross-country style, definitely putting in a lot more work, earning your turns. But you get the pleasure of getting straight powder runs that probably no one else has touched. So it's something that they do a lot out west. I think, Shane does it. We're trying to maybe one of these days we'll rent some equipment, do it ourselves, but definitely want to be versed in backcountry safety, avalanche gear.
Absolutely.
Know what you're doing. It's not to be taken lightly. The other thing when it comes to different skiing types is you got different kinds of skiers in general.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean,
I think you got your park rats.
Right.
Which those are the kids wearing the jerseys on the hill, way too big.
Yeah, they got those tall tees he thrown out of style years ago. No, they're still in the park.
They're still cool. They're in there in the park doing
steezy things, really.
Yeah. You got people like Dan Coyne,
absolutely,
our groomer ripper man. Dude loves to rip some fresh corduroy. I think anyone, maybe there's a handful, but almost anyone on a powder day is going to be a powder hound.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those neat experiences. Totally different, totally different way you're skiing, totally different feel to it.
Yep.
I mean, it's
about as close to flying, aside from maybe jumping out of an airplane as you can get.
Yeah.
Just weightless and soft snow.
Right, you're just floating on it.
Yeah. It's an addiction. Once you do it the first time, you're going to be chasing it for a while, and I think that's what kept us going so long thus far. And let's not forget Groms, our little rippers. We're talking 10-year-old, younger kids that make you look like an old fool.
Yeah, they're in there in the trees, and
Yep.
I mean, heck, their bones are still soft. They're bouncing right off the snow if they get there. Plus, I mean, you go over some of these, like little bumps, little glades and stuff too. The moguls in there, and you go flying. These guys, they just float right over them.
That's right.
It's a little
fear either.
Right? Yeah, it's like when you're a little bit older, trying to learn that kind of stuff too, and you're watching these kids do it, you're like, why can't I do that? But it's a cool thing. Wish we would have got into it that young.
That would have been nice. I think we'd be pros by now if that were the case.
Wow.
But let's not forget our favorite skier is the Jerry. And if you're a surfer, it's the same thing as a kook. It's essentially someone who's got a huge gap between their goggles and their helmet, or they're wearing jeans and sunglasses. They essentially, they kind of look like a park rat fool, but just on a whole nother level.
Yeah. It's like a confused park rat fool.
Yeah. Just a confused skier in general, I think. So, I think some other important tips, and it's going to range, depending on where you're coming in, but there's some definite do's and don'ts when you're on the hill. So if you're new, don't just ski through the terrain park. The park rats will land on you. They'll rip your face off. They'll yell at you. They'll fight you. And you don't want to get crushed. And then we got just a very beginner lesson, pizza French fry.
Right.
Right? What do they say?
Oh, the old South Park reference here. If you French fry when you're trying to pizza, you're going to have a bad time.
That's right. Pizza, when you want to slow down, and eventually they'll learn to work their edges side to side, and they'll start turning. So pizza French fry is what is what you're always going to do. And if you're going to fall, you know, you're going to fall.
Yeah,
and if
it
you're
happens.
not pushing it, which you should always be pushing it. So if you're
not falling, you're not trying.
That's right. So if you're out there, I hope to God you're all taking a spill. Not too bad. And all of us nomads do it. Wear a helmet.
Yeah. I mean, we got a guy in this last trip here that when we weren't even like on a steep, we weren't anything backcountry.
Nope.
We're just coming down a
Standard groomer
groomer.
run.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's going fast, like like the Rhino does. He charges.
Yeah.
And he lost an edge and cracked his helmet a little bit. So
He literally put a dent in his helmet. Kids, his ski hit the back of his own ski hit him in the back of the head.
don't worry, we won't even notice
Dented
the
his
brain
helmet.
damage.
Yeah, the brain damage unnoticeable, but the damage to the helmet totally noticeable.
But without that, I mean, there could have been some serious damage. No one wants to go to the hospital in Japan where we don't speak the language.
No. You just say that you're bleeding and hope to God that they help.
End up like headshot that way.
Yeah. Well, Kirk, I want to thank you for coming in. It was a pleasure. Hopefully next time we can get some more nomads in here. And
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mike.
talk about some more trips, what we got in the works, maybe Jackson Hole. We'll
Ooh.
see what happens.
That's researching it today.
All right. Well, that was the Wax on Ski Racks on Ski Tracks. Take care, listeners. From the wax to the ski tracks, the best. No. From the wax to the ski racks. Yeah. From the wax to the racks in the best. Hold on. Let me get a big drink of water.
Okay.
From the wax to the racks and the best on ski tracks.
There we go.
From the wax to the
Killed it.